Hi there, and welcome to Narcissides Side Notes. This is tactics that narcissists use and ways to survive a run-in and an encounter or a long-standing relationship with one or many narcissists. I am qualified to help talk and teach about this because I have survived some of the worst narcissistic abuse by non-family members that you could possibly dream up. The most confusing part of dealing with narcissistic abusive people is that you might forget they aren't you. They don't act like you or think like you. And they are not as common as, say, regular folks. When you're dealing with narcissistic abusive people, it's like you're playing a video game, as if you need strategy, as if the flow is going to be interrupted all the time by you're going to get all these jolts of suspicion, of doubt, of worry, of concern, because the general back and forth, the general conversation and or friendship and or connection constantly seems off or seems a little odd. Now, if you're a loving person, a sweet person, these are the kind of people that narcissists enjoy targeting. You would be quick to forgive or not even pay much attention to it, just like ignoring what I guess the common term these days are red flags. But again, based on a lot of people's dispositions of kindness and thoughtfulness and whatever you want to call it, niceness, it's pretty normal to ignore small little oddities and carry on with things. But this is to the target's demise, 100%. It is part of their power. You see, what I want to describe is one of the most painful tools that narcissists use, and there's a lot of names for it, but I never really seen a clear, accurate description of what I'm about to teach you. I'm sure in the world of coercion and interviewing and all this stuff that people do when it comes to language and having manipulation and all that, there's probably a term for this, but because I'm so detached from any of that stuff, I have been a victim way too many times. So one thing I'm always a victim of it just happened yesterday to me, is the tactic where let's say a group of narcissists are working together. What they will do is one of them will speak poorly about another one. So Red and Blue are friends, right? And Blue's not there, so Red tells the target, man, Blue is this and that. Blue is this and Blue is that. What do you think? And the target goes, yeah, Blue's kind of like this and that. And they're recording you the whole time. So they make a false friendship and they make a connection and they get you to talk about the other person. Now, if you have a true friendship with them, but it's not true because they're just playing you, they're like criminals, they're just in it to destroy you. It's a very sad reality when you step back from it. You don't have any wish of doom on them, yet everything they do is to gain some leverage and to corner you or to destroy you or to record you or it's so whacked out. So when they do this, it's what you might think, even if you don't gossip, even if you don't say horrible things, because most good-hearted people won't really trash somebody, but you could say honest things. Every time Blue's around, he's really late or I'm worried. I think he might be on drugs or blah, blah, blah. Well, they just want to get to the brass tacks. They want to know what you're thinking about Blue, and Blue is going to find out. Not only is Blue going to find out, they probably recorded you, and it'll be sent around. this reality is so hard to rest around because you don't even see yourself as being someone who needs to be targeted or heard from, or like, why would you even want to know what does it matter how I feel about blue, and why would you record me and distribute it? You see, this is what is the psychopathic aspect to these kind of personality disorders. And it's not fair to say remember this rule. This helps when you're surrounded by these folks. The word psychopath and the word narcissist, they are very closely related in a lot of ways. But you see, every psychopath is a narcissist, but not every narcissist is a psychopath. Now, narcissist is just it's really, I don't even like using these terms because they're used a lot. Narcissist is thrown around like crazy, narcissism. But when someone has a true personality disorder, that's at a level that really is scary. So people could be narcissistic, and I'm narcissistic because I'm a self-promoting artist. But I am not so grandiose and selfish and will harm other people for my gain instantly. And that's pretty much part of the traits of a narc. So in the big picture, when they do this tactic, I'm sure it's called something. I bet you it is. I'm sure good cop, bad cop, they all do it. It's almost like a political thing. That's like in politics they do it. The fear and the suspicion and trying to gain information, it is really bizarre. I've been on the earth for over, like 48 years. And I've only encountered this energy once in my life, and it's been for years now. But so that's something to be careful of. I'm not sure the name of the tactic, but they will do that. Another tactic that narcissists use is like once they find something out about you, whatever it is, they remember it and want to use it to harm you. So if you, like, I don't do that. Wow, that was rude for a recording. Sorry, it's late. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable and stuff. So I purposely protect my friends and peers when they share something about themselves. If they say, sunlight really burns my skin, it really aggravates my acne or my dry skin, then I'll never forget that. And every time we sat somewhere, I would always be, kind of looking for some shade for the person. I'm happy to be that way. I'm happy to have my mother's kindness that I watched her live with my whole life. So once they learn something, it could be anything. It could be you don't like clam chowder. Maybe you're allergic to shellfish. And then all of a sudden, they seem to enjoy this idea of shellfish, or, oh, I got some, I ate clams, or I just had clam chowder, or, smell this. Doesn't this smell like seafood? I mean, just weird ways that would terrorize you, and that's a pretty dramatic term, but make you feel fear about the fact that they know that you either don't like it or are allergic, and they seem to want to almost rub clams in your mouth while they're smiling, while there's other people around, and while everything is distracted. But it's the strangest phenomenon because they feel a sense of power in harming you. And you go, what is that? So this is very real. And even though they may not be able to really harm you, they enjoy watching you appear to be uncomfortable or afraid. And so that is one of their tells. That's something they enjoy. Again, don't forget that it's very rare to come across a narcissist or anybody with a violent tone to their demeanor on the regular. Not just a bad day. I mean, someone who is predatory often and a lot, and to see them as sober people. They're seldom sober. You're very, very rarely. You're going to have often white powder. That's what I've learned. I've learned that cocaine, amphetamines, anything that is, the oxys and all the stuff that comes from the pharmacies, when they start dabbling in white powder, especially aggressive white powder, things that, I forget what the stimulants and, the edgy stuff, it turns them into machines. Machines of rage, machines of suspicion, machines of paranoia, and worse, and on and on and on. So I'm not saying that everybody who has fun with any kind of drug is a bad person. I'm just saying that it's usually hand in hand that they're going to have an altered state most of the time, or some of the time. And that's part of how you deal with these narcissistic people. You have to kind of build your own wall, build your own boundary, and know that when you're in their presence, you will be lonely. Very, very lonely. Because you don't want to become them. You don't want to associate with their traits. You could associate with them. They could still be good people. You could still have respect for them, but it's a strange energy when you befriend someone who wants to harm you on the regular. It's really weird. So I'm going to stop with those two. I'll have more to come. There'll be a lot more here following Narcisside, and some kind of interesting stories that I'll share with you too. Oh, I do have one story. True story. When you are with someone who is as disordered as I'm trying to describe, it isn't something that is obvious to the people around you. Quite often, anybody who's psychopathic could be successful in American life. Success meaning money or status or something like that. So if they are successful, that is like a smokescreen to block the average person from understanding that they could be relationally dangerous. And it is very common for it to be hidden in a smokescreen of fake whatever. And if you're me, if you're the quiet observer and you see truth and you just like truth and you don't hate anybody, but you sure aren't going to buy a bunch of lies, they cannot have you around. You are going to ruin the hoax. You figured it out, and when you do, they will destroy you. I have been completely decimated, and have realized that my life has been compromised by my choice to sit among and be friends with narcissistic, abusive people, thinking Mr. Kindness, Mr. Non-judgment, and all that is somehow going to not be affected. But of course, that's not how it works. So I'm going to give you more tips on and tell you more stories again soon. But that's just my first little self-help thing on narcissistic survival tactics, how to survive being targeted by a narcissist. All right. Well, I hope it was helpful. I'm Greg Colossal, and I'll see you soon. Bye.